Hey everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Purple, Yellow, Red and Blue podcast, a Portugal The Man podcast. Each episode, a guest will join alongside myself and talk about everything going on with Portugal The Man. Today we have news, we have topics, and we have some backlog stuff that we can get to, that I haven't got to before, and some impressions. Also each episode we have the PTM song game at the end of the episode, and chance to hang out with the guests during the episode and hear their thoughts on current events with them. You can find this podcast, past and future episodes, up on YouTube or Spotify, and a couple of other podcast services if I can get around to put them up on there. If you are on YouTube and enjoying the show, leave us a like, helps more people find the show. Cheers, algorithm. My name is Mark, and my guest joining me today is...
I'm Josh, otherwise known as Gerald Fjord in the Discord or Laser Guided Melody on Reddit.
Hey, how was your Saturday afternoon doing then, Josh? Returning guest, I should add.
Yeah, second time. Proud to be back. And to answer your question, it's been pretty cold, pretty gray, but that's pretty typical for where I live. So I guess overall it's been a decent afternoon so far.
Yeah, we've got that like January weather. January's just a bit of a meh month, isn't it? Let's be honest. You know, the bills come in, you don't really want to pay them. It's a bit tight financially. Oh, yeah. The weather's not very great, especially, with Northern Hemisphere. You're more northern than I am, but I can only imagine.
It would be an awful month to be born in, I feel like.
Have you had any snow up your way?
Not since December. It's actually been pretty tame this winter so far. This is now probably only the second weekend this winter that's gotten as cold as it has. And it's not even as bad now as it was back in December when we got all the snow. It was negative 18, whereas I think today it's maybe including the wind chill, maybe it's 12 to 15.
Yeah, Josh,
yeah. So.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so you've not had no snow past December then. It's got to be nice to de-snow the car.
Yes. Yeah. Where I live in New York, when we got snow, I don't know. I think it was the week before Christmas, and then the weekend of Christmas was also really cold, and we got some snow. But we only got maybe 2 feet of snow here, but then Buffalo, New York, which is 2.5 to 3 hours northwest of where I live, they got crushed. I think the was a final death toll of 30-some people. It's pretty crazy. So as much as I hate the cold and snow, at least we didn't get it that bad.
Yeah, that is pretty horrific. We don't really, get too much snow. It's been coming in February time recently, the last couple of years. So I'll be letting people know when it's snowing, or you'll know on social media because all the British people will be like, it's snowing outside. We love pointing.
Have you ever had a snow day before from school?
I've had about probably 3 or 4, I'd say. I've had a snow day off work as well, which was nice.
Dude, that's always nice.
I probably won't get one again now that people can work from home, but I took advantage of a couple of them. Yeah, just country lanes, just overly snowed up, couldn't get to work. But yeah.
Yep.
Snow in the winter time. But anyway, anything else going on? Hopefully you had a happy new year.
Yeah. So yeah, another decade older. It's weird. The last time I was on your show, I felt like I was still I don't know, young and full of life at 29, and now I'm in my 30s. It's very weird.
By feeling youthful at 29 and somehow older, mentally 30, 1 year older,
I'm just waiting. I'm expecting to wake up some morning here soon and just have a head full of gray hair.
Oh no, mate. I wouldn't worry about that too much. I don't think... What do people say, 50 is the new 40? And that kind of scales back down now. When I hear kids saying they're old at 21, I'm like, nah.
I don't know, man. I lived a hard and fast life, so who knows? My 30 is probably someone else's 50.
That's... Yeah, maybe. You never know. But if you're enjoying it, it's your roller coaster,
And I mean, when I say hard and fast, I'm more or less just talking about, lots of Taco Bell and smoke a lot of weed. Probably not the healthiest lifestyle, so... But I wonder if they did get really anything other than money from having their songs in Taco Bell commercials.
Well, from their little interview, we did a Reddit AMA with John. He had about 7 or 8 people on. I was lucky enough to be on there. He basically was saying, well, none of us are millionaires, so they're not exactly, they're doing all right, but they're not, they can't go out and buy sports teams or anything, or buy ridiculously stupid cars. They can buy reasonable cars, but can't go overboard. So I don't know how much money they made from it, but not enough to fill up the tub.
I would have pushed though to be like, yeah, you can use our song, but I get free chalupas for life or something like that. Have you been to one?
I've been to one several times actually. Yeah, I don't mind it.
But now you need to come here and have one, because I feel like there's got to be differences. I feel like McDonald's for you is probably in some ways different than McDonald's for me.
Yeah, the Taco Bell thing, they lean more on chips. They lean quite heavily on that, but they have the quesadillas, the burritos, all that sort of stuff.
Can you get a taco box of 12 tacos for $16 or something like that?
You can do. I've never been in there where someone's ordered one. But yeah, no, we have Taco Bell. I have one dangerously close to where I work, so it is...
the temptation is always calling.
It's always calling, yeah. But yeah, and then we had Christmas as well. Hopefully you had a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. My fiance got me a new guitar, which was pretty sick. Nice. Not something I ever would have expected. She had ordered it pretty early on, so the box was wrapped, sitting in her room, her book room, for at least a month. And she wouldn't let me look at it because she was afraid that I was gonna figure out what it was. And no, I never would have guessed it. And that was pretty sick. So yeah, I've been jamming out with that.
Oh, nice. Have you always played guitar, or have you started learning recently, or?
I've been playing. I've been playing since I was probably 14 or 15.
Nice.
That just depends on your definition of playing. I've never really taken an official lesson or anything. So I just like to jam. I'll play along with songs. I've got some neighbors nearby that I'll go jam with and stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I've never even tried to play the guitar. I tried to play piano when I was younger. I've tried learning it twice professionally, and I get to about the same point, and then it's reading music, trying to play it off the sheet. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. The pandemic sort of ended the lessons, and I just...
Oh, that sucks, man.
I never really picked it back up again, to be honest, because it was quite expensive, but I wanted to commit to it, but I got to an alright level.
Hey, man, if you can play, hot cross buns, you can play piano in my book.
I was learning some old school stuff. We're talking stuff that normally, today's rhythms and sounds wouldn't really align, so it doesn't sound normal to the ear. It sounds offbeat quite a bit. But I could play a few bits and pieces. I was working my way through a few tutor books. So,
I mean, you can also always just fall back on telling people that you're really good jazz pianist, because jazz, man, you just do what you want.
I'm a good improvisationalist. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just go with it. So yeah, just the guitar or anything else?
Dabble in a little bit of keyboard, a little bit of drums. I am gonna get an electric drum set soon, just because the drums are so fun to play. Have you ever played the drums before?
I've played the drums. I've played it on the Guitar Heroes and things like that as well.
But isn't that really fun?
It's fun. It's fun on there. It's even more fun in real life. But
yeah,
you've got to be cautious of the neighbors.
True, but when I was in college, I couldn't afford a drum set, and I was in dorms anyway, so it's not like I could have a full-on drum set with me. But so I used a Rock Band, or what was the other one? It was Rock Band, not Guitar Hero.
Band, and then they were
it was a
Rock Band, yeah.
A Rock Band. Yeah, so I used a Rock Band PlayStation 2 drum set from when my brother had Rock Band when we were younger, and I found some program that I just downloaded on my computer, and then I could use that the Rock Band drum set as just an electronic drum kit, and it was pretty sick.
Yeah, it's a shame all those sort of those like guitar heroes and rock bands, they've sort of come to fruition, you know, because no one really wants to pay $200 or whatever to buy a big plastic drum kit. But yeah, no,
For sure.
That sounds fun though, like doing the electric drums. Yeah, you know, just go to town on them. And what about? Did you get anything nice? Any presents you're proud of or anything?
I mean, the Strokes and Chili Pepper tickets, I feel like were a pretty big hit because, like I said, the Strokes are my fiance's all-time favorite band, and she'd never seen them before, so, excuse me, she was pretty excited about it.
No, we were talking in like the pre-show for everyone. Josh he's bought Strokes and Red Hot Chili Peppers tickets for, you say April, around that time? Unless you want to...
Yep, April.
I really like Machu Picchu. I really like that one by the Strokes. That's like my favourite Strokes song. You'll probably be like, I've never heard of it.
I've never really gotten that deep into them. Like, they're all right. Aside from Is This It? And any other songs that she's played me, I've never really, looked them up myself.
So you're more looking forward to Red Hot Chili Peppers then?
I mean, I'm looking forward to them both equally. Probably, maybe the Strokes more. I have seen the Chili Peppers before, back in 2013. But they do have John Frusciante back with them, and I've never seen him, so that'll be cool, I guess.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yep.
Oh, no, sounds
Yeah, because I'm seeing Blink-182 in May as well, and they have Tom DeLonge back. So I am very excited for that, because I saw Blink in 2016 with Matt Skiba, who was awesome. It was an amazing show. It's just going to be cool to see Blink-182 with Travis Barker, Mark Hoppus, and Tom DeLonge.
Wow, awesome. What was Tom's... He did he went off and did his own band as well.
Angels and Airwaves.
I was thinking Angels and Airwaves, but I wasn't sure if that was the name of it. That's right. And that must have been like 15 years ago, 14 years, something like that. It's been a while.
So there's... Once he started Angels and Airwaves back in the mid-2000s, it's never stopped. I think he might have just released a new album for Angels and Airwaves within the last year or two, and he's toured for them within the last 2 years, I think. So it's still pretty active.
He's own solo stuff as well, I'm pretty sure.
Possibly, but he also has I don't know if it's a clothing line or some sort of company. I think it's called To the Stars that he owns and runs. And then he just does. Apparently, he does UFO stuff for the government or something. I don't know. Yeah, we don't need to go too deep into the Tom DeLonge alien rabbit hole. It's a hole I don't need to get to the bottom of.
I'm curious, but I don't put too much investment in it. I'd like to know more, but I mean,
yeah, that's a whole thing. It's the big question of what would the world do if everybody all of a sudden found out hey, everything you ever believed in basically isn't true, and there's a whole teeming universe out there filled with people. I am totally sorry if you just heard Alexa in the background.
Yeah, I was going to say Alexa, she wants to pipe in about aliens.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was just our front door. We can put this in there. Hey, Ring, you can buy it from Amazon. Give Jeff Bezos more money. Now we'll get some advertising revenue.
Jeffy B's too busy flying to space. That's what he's too busy. I don't think he's involved with Amazon anymore.
He's got to be making money from it somehow,
right?
I feel making money. Yeah, there's no way you're going to build that empire and then just totally wash your hands of it. Not a chance.
But yeah, no, I am bringing it round back again. I had a pretty good Christmas as well. Pretty chill one. Didn't do too much. I had 2 weeks off from work. It's just good.
Oh, dude, what? That's sick.
I booked days off beforehand, so I could take 2 weeks. I didn't just get 2 weeks off. No, I probably would have had.
I was about to say I need to move to the UK, man. If you guys are getting 2 weeks around Christmas, just given to you.
Yeah, no, it's pretty chill. Went to a football match, saw some friends, some little bit of family, but yeah, not too much. I got myself a new scarf for Christmas. A Dune graphic novel, which I need to still read. I haven't really picked it up.
What? How big is that?
It's about 200 pages. It's a pretty long graphic novel.
Yeah. Dune is isn't Dune 1,000 pages?
Yeah, but this is if you've seen the film that came out in 2021.
Oh, okay.
It's not exactly like you can't. I had a little flick through, and Oscar Isaac isn't in there, unfortunately. But I think it's more close to maybe a representation of the film than the book, because again, it's 200 pages. But there are 2 more as well, so maybe it'd be something to get every year for Christmas. Yeah.
That's funny that you say that, just because that's something that I've done. Is I've started trying to, if I haven't already, get people things that will make it easier to shop for them in the future. And so an example is that, like, 2 years ago, I think, I got my dad a record player, because, I mean, he grew up listening to records and stuff like that. So now anytime I need to get him gifts, I can always fall back on vinyls if I can't think of anything.
Vinyl, yeah.
And then same thing, my little sister is 20 now, and she's in college, and she likes music. She's into a totally different type of music than I am, but she loves music. And so I thought this year, when I was thinking, like, I don't know what to get her, I was like, I bet she'd like a record player, because she's kind of into older stuff like that. And so, yeah, I got her that and a couple vinyls, and she was super into it. And now in the future, if I need to get her a gift and I can't think of anything, boom, just get her a vinyl record.
Yeah, awesome. That's really nice, yeah. Yeah, pretty just chill, to be honest, just some time off, but, you know, I wasn't playing anything.
So traditionally, what do you, I'm assuming, did you spend the holiday with, like, your family?
Immediate family, yes. I've got quite a small family, and I was going to go see them, but I just, due to, like, public transport not operating on, I didn't do it, and then people were busy afterwards. It just sort of, it fell through, but, yeah, I've got... I've got a pretty small family, and we're starting to, like, spread out as we get older anyway. So we just the immediate family for Christmas. It was nice, you know.
So what did you do for dinner?
A turkey.
Turkey, nice. Okay.
1:30 in the afternoon. Yeah, turkey.
Nice. See, that sounds almost like our version of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we don't. You guys double dip on the Christmas dinner. You have it in November, and then you have it about a month later for Christmas as well. Like.
And so I do think a lot of people around here do have turkey, but another one that's very common is, like, a ham as well. Like, I know we had ham. And then depending on people's, I want to say, like, their kind of cultural background or whatever, especially, like, their ancestry, where they came from. Like, I know I have a lot of friends, at least maybe I'm assuming this, but who, like... They're very Italian, and their, like, grandparents usually came over from Italy, but they'll usually have, like, spaghettis or lasagnas and stuff like that on Christmas, so that's common too.
Alright, awesome. But yeah, it was pretty calm. Yeah, just a good reset, to be honest. And then I came back and got poorly for about a week, so hey, what could you do? But anyway, yeah, I thought I'd just do a little summary, unless there's anything else you wanted to bring up just about the holidays or anything in general.
No, unfortunately, I think we've gotten caught up to this point. I mean, not that much has changed since we last did this in June, I think.
Was it June? It was probably around that time. It was definitely last year, summertime, around the summer. But yeah, no, I haven't done one of these. I've tried to get guests on, and to be honest, there hasn't been too much news. So as for this episode, I thought I'd cover smaller news bits. So, you know, some pieces that I thought probably weren't, you know, they weren't big enough on their own to put somewhere, or they've kind of been in between. I just thought I'd get an episode in now, because I know I haven't done one in a while, and I've definitely not given up on this. Definitely not. I'm just sort of, you know, I took a bit of time off and thinking about how to present it more properly. And
Well, you don't want to make the same episode, like, excuse me, for months on end,
yeah,
where you're just talking about the same thing.
Yeah, I'm like... So what about What Me Worry Remix 13 this week? You know, like...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, we're just going through SoundCloud now, listening to all these random uploads from these random people that have, like, 8 views. Let's dive in.
Let's dive in, lads. Yeah, no, so I've got a few bits and pieces, but I thought I'd start off with a quick, almost a shout-out. And this one is to Dewey Halfus. I don't know if you've heard the podcast, Peer Pleasure Podcast. Have you, Josh?
I have. Yes, because he at one point was in Portugal The Man way back in the... I want to say he is credited on Waiter You Vultures, right?
He is an OG, and yes, he was there for Waiter right at the beginning, and the band they had before that, which was...
Yeah, Anatomy of a Ghost.
Anatomy of a Ghost, thank you. Your brain is more on fire than mine. But yeah, I thought I'd give a bit of a shout out, because he's had John on, he's had Zach on, He's done about 350 episodes. As of recently, he's had another past member in Ryan Neighbours. I say another past member, who was in the band between about 2008 to 2012, 2013. It gets a bit of crossover around there, but yeah, good 4 or 5 years. You could see him on the piano before Kyle was on there, but they had a good chat. You know, he's basically the unofficial Portugal The Man podcast, even though I try to be.
Yeah.
I try to be, but
yeah.
I think he's the reigning king of that one.
He's got to have some competition, though. We can't have a monopoly, competition is good.
Let me get Jason, Zach, and a couple of other ex-members, and maybe I can level the playing field, but someday.
One thing I wanted to say, though, is you mentioned Ryan being on keys before Kyle got in the band. You do know that Kyle was, I want to say, associated with them before Ryan even was officially, right?
Yes, yeah, he was not in the original lineup, but a very early one, yeah.
He is credited on Churchmouth, I believe, as well, whereas I don't think Ryan Neighbours is. I'm looking it up right now.
At that point in the band's history, because of their size, they probably had, someone's dropped out for the recording period, let's get someone else in, sort of thing, like, just to get it recorded. It wouldn't surprise me. That's, it still sounded good, so...
I never knew this, but on Churchmouth, at least according to Wikipedia, only John, Zach, and Jason are credited as Portugal The Man. It seems to be that everybody else was just additional personnel.
Yep.
And Dewey, one of them on here, he's credited with backing vocals.
Dewey with the backing vocals. Love it. But yeah, just a shout out to them. Go listen to it. The Ryan Neighbours one is good. It's just like a really casual chat. Go check out Dewey Halfus's Peer Pleasure podcast. I'll leave a link in below for their website, or as a link tree, or some way to get to like his socials or something, because gotta just... I'm sure most people who've listened to this have probably heard of him or listened to the John or the Zach couple of episodes. I think he's done 2 with John, maybe 1 or 2 with Zach as well. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's just about like culture and music and bits and pieces like that. Get some interesting guests on. Peer Pleasure podcast, I should say. Anyway, next little smaller segment. Yeah, Ariasaka meets Portugal The Man. Now, this was about 6 months ago. It's like a sort of a back behind the scenes kind of thing. Yeah, you can sort of see her like messing around there, but yeah, she meets John and Zach and a couple of the other band members in there. It's just kind of like a little background thing. I saw this pop up on the socials, and yeah, it's just like a little background behind the scenes thing. I know they have like their social media. Maclay Harriet does some stuff, but it was just nice to see like a behind the scenes thing. What do you think of this, Josh?
It's I think it's just crazy to see, because I saw a show that this tour is definitely from, and while I'm positive this is not the same arena I saw, it's just weird how similar all arenas apparently look. Yeah, this is Crypto Arena, never been there. But I mean, looks just like Wells Fargo Center in Philly, looks just like Madison Square Garden, almost, which is in New York City. But yeah. Yeah,
as you see there, just like some of the dressing room stuff. I just found it quite interesting because I've never seen inside of a dressing room. This was obviously, they were performing with Cherry Glazer and Alt J. They had obviously done some songs with Alt J as well. With Cherry Glazer. Sorry, memory's going a bit fuzzy there.
Interesting. I wonder what that is that they're walking into. That looks scary.
That's where they get rid of the...
And who is this person?
She is a streamer, like a content creator for a gaming brand. I think they're called Immortals. She's on Twitch. And there she's wearing a What Me Worry hoodie as well. There you go. You also mentioned before the show as well about the Lords of Portland Instagram as well. You said that was like
so I don't really use Instagram, but I'm pretty sure there is like a Portugal The Man Instagram, which is like the official one. But then there's also another one, because they call themselves the Lords of Portland, where it's just the Lords of Portland Instagram. And again, it's just the band. I don't know if you can call it official or not, but it's clearly the band, and they've just got some cool sort of behind the set footage, and I call it behind the set. I'm not sure who it was filming, but it was during like a couple other shows, just someone walking around on the stage as they're playing, like filming. And it was really cool to watch those and just get that point of view of what it looks like being on the stage while Portugal The Man is playing.
what I thought with that one. I thought, yeah, just like nice little background.
Yeah,
Maybe. I don't know. No, probably
and
not.
I believe they have their own merch store as well. Like, there's PTM Mercado or whatever is where you buy the PTM merch. But I believe there's also like a Lords of Portland version of that where they have some more obscure shirts or maybe a bit more random shirts they sell, as well as like more regular PTM merch.
Nice. But yeah, next little smaller segment, Josh, was a podcast that John did a couple of months ago, actually, with Johnny's Nava. I believe that's his name. I could be butchering that. And it's like an anxiety podcast, or he brought John on to talk about that. I don't know if you had heard this at the time.
It got posted in the Reddit, and I'm pretty sure that I did watch it. It's just been like a little while now, so I can't like remember all the details about it.
Yeah, no, it was just there weren't too many beats to take from it, but it was just good to see John on pretty chill talking about, you know, like his fears and that sort of thing, anxieties, and bring it up, because you don't normally, it's normally just when you get these presses and media days, it's like, oh, so when's your next thing, and when's this and this and this and the music, and it's like, well, I'd like to learn more about the character, more about the people, and something like this is perfect opportunity, really. So yeah, no, I thought it was really cool to sort of get a nice behind it. It's about an hour long. I'll also leave a link in the description for anyone that hasn't already heard it. I don't know how relevant it is, but to now, but I think it's probably still relevant. I mean, he's also talking about Janice Jaw, which we mentioned last time as well. Well, you brought to my attention first.
Yeah, how he had some sort of injury in the past that never like healed right, and he ended up, I think, having to have maybe like some surgery or something like that. But I believe he's said that he's like pretty much like kind of recovered from that now.
Yeah, I think that's basically the gist of it. He had to have surgery on it, but I remember at the time he was talking about it, and again in the podcast talking about anxieties, talking about jaw, talking about, you know, pain, just trying to like flesh that stuff out, and then just how painful it was, like not physically killing him, but he could feel it like just gnawing away at him, and almost being unable to talk, which, you know, is awful, really. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're singing like 150 nights a year at least, yes, and you're having jaw issues. It's really gonna not be a fun place to be.
In like 2008, didn't they do something like 300 shows that year? 2018. Sorry, 2008. Is it 2018?
It's hard to keep track because they've always played like, or up until the last few years, I think they were a band that was kind of known for like constantly touring, and I think it's kind of slowed down. But then in 2018, the world tour for Woodstock that started in 2017, and I don't think it even ended until maybe like 2019, but in that time frame they did play a ton. Like the world tour poster for Woodstock is like got the most dates I've ever seen, like any band list on like a single poster.
Yeah, I would have been good to have seen one of those shows, unfortunately, but
it was
too long. Oh, yeah, good time. That's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I had known about those posters, though. I'd have loved to have bought one. Excuse me, buyed. I forgot how to speak English for a second.
Oh, that's good. English is hard. Don't worry. They did the hoodie as well with the clock hands on the back of it, and it was clock hands pointing at every year that they released an album or there was a tour. Did they release that alongside? I'm thinking of something else now, aren't I?
I know I bought a hat at the Madison Square Garden show last April in 2022 where it had the year on the side. It said like world champion, and then the year that they released an LP.
That might be.
And then it listed 2022, which is why if you listen to the last podcast I was on, I was like, I think I was pretty confident that something would come out, because my logic was, why else would they put that year on the hat if it wasn't going to come out? And now I just have that hat, and the 2022 is at this point meaningless.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit of a shame, isn't it, that they couldn't release it last year, but what could you do, you know? Well, hopefully 2023, crossing fingers. Hopefully John nails down the lyrics, and no more injuries, no one else gets hurt or anything, everyone's safe to continue and finally
Yeah,
release
it's
the next
just
album.
crazy though. I was like doing the math in my head last night, or more or less just counting on fingers, about how it's now been like almost 5 years, I think, since Woodstock came out, right?
Was June of
2018,
2017.
21, 22. So maybe it's like almost 6 years at this point.
It's 5.5 at the moment, and the gap between
Yeah.
Evil Friends and Woodstock was only 4, maybe you count 4.5.
Yeah, I remember that feeling like an eternity, because you just got spoiled having like at least one LP come out every single year. And then after Evil Friends, that just kind of died off. Even the year between In the Mountain and the Cloud and Evil Friends didn't really feel that long because they were touring constantly. And, but 6 months before Evil Friends came out, if not longer, they were already teasing that album. So you kind of knew something was coming anyway. Whereas now, it's just so weird to think about how much has changed. Like, the last time a Portugal The Man album came out, I still was just like working in restaurants and stuff. And now I've got like almost 5 years of banking experience under my belt. Like, my life has changed so much since the last time they released an album.
Yeah, I think I just bought my first car maybe like 2 months before it came out. And
nice.
It's just weird to think about. That just feels so long ago now. Like, it's been 5.5 years now. Like,
yeah, and that's another thing I was thinking about that I think is just kind of, I don't know if they ever think about it. I don't know if they care, but they had the reputation of being that band that was putting out a new album every year. People just used to talk about, and we still talk about how hard they jam and everything like that. But I think King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard have really kind of like stolen that torch and just like taken off with it, because they're getting such positive feedback on like everything they do now, whether it's their live shows or the like 3 or 4 albums they're putting out every year. And it's just weird thinking about how PTM like kind of used to be that band, and it seemed like they were like gonna keep being that band, and then they stopped, and now someone sort of came along and took what they used to be known for and have almost like gone even more crazy with it. And it's just, I almost wish PTM could have done that, it would have been awesome if PTM had a little more King Gizzard in them, if that makes any sense.
Shout out to the Aussies at King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, but they're not the same as PTM, and vice versa. They're two different entities, and obviously feel it's still, in we're going to talk about it later, but in the redrocks 2021 show, which I watched recently, even Zach halfway through was like, "Oh, this song took us from eating cheeseburgers to steaks." Like, it's just a different King Gizzard. They haven't had that monumental, like, song of the year. They've not won.
They haven't, but neither did PTM. Neither did PTM for such a long time.
But I'd be interested to see if they did. See what happens.
And yeah, and
maybe
it's, I don't know. It's
you never know. Like, we can only be patient.
It's one of those things where, like, of course I'm happy for their success, and I'm not saying they should do anything differently, but just when they kind of needed it more, I guess that was better for us as fans, because then we got way more opportunities to see them, to buy new albums from them when they kind of had to do that, if that makes sense. Like, I think they feel it still took them from being working musicians to now being like still working musicians. They just don't have to work quite as hard. And again, that's not to say that they're not hardworking, but you know what I mean? Like, they were able to take their foot off the gas a little bit.
They are, but that's also dangerous. It's also dangerous because you have to worry about relevancy as well. Like, if you
exactly,
sit in the shadows for a long time and then come back, some bands don't come back at all. Hopefully a 2023 release would be brilliant. Would be just as well, because, it's been time. We know it's done. John said it's done. Like, you've said it's done, John. Like, well, what's going on? Was it stuck in the post or something? I know there's a lot of strikes in the UK. Can't be that bad. I'm not sure. It's frustrating. It is frustrating because you wait and you think, man, I can't keep listening to 10-year-old songs. I want something fresh. I want something to reinvigorate the enjoyment. Because, as I was saying to you in the pre-show, I haven't got any shows lined up for this year. I haven't got anything. come and take that. Come take that. Come give you something.
Yeah.
To go watch, sort of thing. They're just
Yeah. Excuse me.
That's all right.
And I just because a few festival lineups have now come out this past week. I know Bonnaroo came out. I think Coachella came out. Boston Calling came out. And they all have pretty awesome lineups. And I'm just hoping that this year doesn't end up being a year where like most of these bands are just hitting up festivals and stuff. Because unfortunately, like I'm 30 years old now. I'm basically a boomer. Like I've got a job I have to work. I've got like a house, like the mortgage payment now. Like I unfortunately don't really have the time to take off like a week during the summer and just go to some like different state and different city and do that, like I've got too much going on. And I never wanted to get that way, but it just kind of, that's life, I guess, for most people. So yeah, now I just try to go to, any show that I can that's within 3 to 4 hours of me, which would be like Philadelphia, Buffalo, Syracuse, Albany. And yeah, I miss the festival days, and I hope it doesn't become that where I know PTM is on the Bonnaroo lineup, and they've said that's...
I was about to say they're playing under Kendrick Lamar's on the Friday.
Yep, and I know they said it's going to be like a special show or something, and that just like makes me so like jealous. It's like, God, why can't I ever see a special show?
Yeah, it would be nice. Again, they're doing Bonnaroo in June the 16th, I think. Yeah, Friday the 16th. So, if you didn't already know, there you go. Quick update.
Oh no, yeah, that's what I was talking about. That they're on the Bonnaroo lineup, and or were you talking to the people listening?
I was talking to both, but I was talking to the people listening. Just a reminder. I was
about to bring
it up, and then you brought it up as well. So that we're thinking on the same wavelength. That's good to know.
Yeah,
no,
but
no, go on, sir.
I was gonna say it just sucks when people say Bonnaroo is the premier festival and everything. I just have never had the opportunity to go, and it just makes me like so salty and jealous when bands are like, "Yeah, Bonnaroo, we love this, so we're always gonna like go harder than we do." And it's like, why can't you just go hard every night, man? I pay for tickets to see you too. I want the goods.
Yeah, so you've got that. You've got Coachella. Are those like the big head-to-heads that always tussle for like with a big festival?
So Bonnaroo, Coachella, Lollapalooza in Chicago. Yeah. And then I would say those are like the biggest. Maybe Austin City Limits, which is in Texas.
Oh yes,
at least I assume. But yeah, otherwise there's smaller ones like Firefly in Delaware, which I've gone to like 8 times, is not happening this year.
Oh, is it not? Oh, odd.
No, yeah. They're saying they're gonna come back in 2024, but who knows if that's true. But then, so you've got that. You've got Governor's Ball is in New York City. I don't know if Mountain Jam is still a thing, but that was a festival that was like...
I've not heard of Mountain Jam.
It was a small...
Sorry?
It was just a smaller festival. I don't even know if it still exists, but it used to be in upstate New York. That would have like, alternative rock usually. They've got Boston Calling, if I didn't already say that, obviously in Boston. It's got the Foo Fighters. Anyone who's getting to see the Foo Fighters is lucky. I saw them in 2014. And I wasn't really like a fan. I more or less consider them dad rock. But then they put on like an amazing show. I'd actually seen PTM that day at that festival earlier on. And I remember Zach saying something about like, who's like excited to drink some beers and watch the Foo Fighters tonight or something like that. And I always thought that was like a goofy thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, out of all those shows, they sound so familiar to me in my head because they've all been like YouTube links or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. We've got a couple of more like not local festivals, but we've got Reading and Leeds, and then we've got obviously Glastonbury every year. Is there anything
I feel like those... I was just going to say, I feel like festivals in England, maybe it's because I've never been to one or I've never been to England, but I just feel like the atmosphere of that sort of thing seems so different in England than it is in the US.
Well, maybe it's a little bit more sparse over here, but it's a thing. Like Glastonbury, it's a thing in June. Like everyone knows it's happening. it is the weekend essentially, and everyone's like, oh yeah, I'll try catch it or go watch it, or And if you saw where it was, it's literally just a bunch of farm fields. It's basically in like a very rural part of the country. Very
It's interesting. And now, is that like the biggest festival?
I would say so. I mean, if you look at the headlines, if you look at the lineups for the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's recognisable names really all through. Like all of these bands we've mentioned so far, I think they've pretty much all been there. Portugal the Man, I don't know if they've ever actually been to Glastonbury. I don't think so. I know they tend to. I'll bring this up tangent quickly. When John had the MMA, I asked him about England, and he said, well, the problem with going to England is doing the shows is the warm-ups. Now, the warm-ups for them, they always get like he wanted to say it politely, but essentially noise bands, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean by noise bands? So, yeah, he and he said, yeah, we do it, but kind of want someone maybe a little bit more proper and that isn't a noise band going on. I was like, yeah, I understand. Yeah, when you think about it like that, but I just, be good for them to come back this year.
Wait, so was he saying he does or does not want the noise bands opening for them?
He doesn't want them, but he was being very polite about it. That's why I was sort of very, very hesitant. Because that's
surprising. Because they seem to like so many different types of music, and I've especially seen, I think, posts from someone in the band saying like support your local scene, and they're just at some random like bar seeing some random local metal band or something like that.
I think the term noise band is probably generous to some of these bands.
Okay.
It probably, I could be well off, completely wrong, but he'll come back and he'll probably just have to grit his teeth, unfortunately. Yeah.
It would be interesting to see who some of their opening acts in the UK have been.
It will be. Someone in the Discord has mentioned a couple of bands that I've come to enjoy, but it would have to be... They'd have to obviously go on tour with someone larger than them. And they've done it with... oh, God, what is that? They're like a folk band. I've completely forgotten their name. Yeah, they're a folk band from England.
You're talking about Mumford & Sons.
Mumford & Sons, thank you, yes. Maybe they do a reverse thing. Maybe they do a reverse and they are sort of the headliner for them, or vice versa. When they
excuse me.
I'm gonna have to Google this now.
There's something. They're not from America, I can tell you that. I just after seeing PTM,
they are based from London, yeah.
Okay, but after seeing the PTM tour with Alt J, like, I wasn't about it before, and I'm definitely not about it now. I don't think PTM should really open for anyone. Especially, I mean, contemporary-wise. I don't know if there are any contemporary bands that they should be, like, opening for.
How long was the set? The opening set?
About an hour.
An hour for an opener? That's pretty good.
And so it's like they're technically the middle build act. The opening act was Sherry Glazer, and they only played for about like half an hour. And then PTM,
like, as you were coming in, sort of thing, they were playing, or
we were like the first people let into the arena, so we were there before Sherry Glazer started.
But it was pretty soon after. Okay.
Yeah. And I just All J's good, and the light show was really cool, but PTM, they're amazing, and they deserve that headliner spot. I'm probably biased, but they kill it every time. Like, it's just weird seeing any bands play after them, because they just bring the heat.
Definitely. But anyway, speaking about a different type of performance, you've heard of TED Talks, right? They're like the online YouTube. Course. They're like the sort of 18-minute discussion things.
Yeah.
PTM actually did one. I don't know if anyone caught this. I found this out after last year. It says recorded in May. And you can see instead of doing like a 18-minute discussion, they're doing a few songs on it, which was pretty cool. It's pretty unusual, but Yeah, I've talked to two people that have done a TED Talk before. One was a musician, the guy who taught me piano, and then a YouTuber as well. So I've seen both sides of it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Have you had time? Did you watch this back when it came out, or
I didn't watch it, and not very many people did. It's only got 2.1 thousand views. That's crazy to me.
Ooh, might have to put that in the Reddit again and just pump up the views a bit. Try and get it circulating. Yeah, and it's probably not like a. Oh God, I'm trying to think of someone famous who would have done a TED Talk.
The dude playing keys, though, it hasn't really had a good shot of the keyboard player, but I'm not 100% sure that's Kyle. I don't know who's playing the keys in this.
I'm trying to actually know. You mentioned it. Yeah, maybe Kyle was. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if Zach's there either. I know Eric is there.
Did I see Zach?
John.
Did I? Yeah, no. Most of the band is there. Then
I would assume Portland, which is where they're
the word
based,
Portland is
sure.
in the background, so that's probably where it is, Mark. Yeah. No, fair point. Well spotted, Josh. I didn't see that, but yeah, no, it was.
And it's a TEDx. I'm pretty sure TEDx is not I think there's TED and then there's TEDx, and TEDx is sort of a more localized thing where I think someone somehow can pay to put on a TEDx event, whereas then there's the top tier corporate TED events. I could be wrong, though. If I'm wrong, please feel free to comment.
Feel free. I haven't watched one.
That's definitely not Kyle, right?
No, that definitely is not Kyle. No, they just pan back to him. We must be. He must have just not been out there. Must have been not there for the day. No, that's fine. But I thought I'll also link this in the description if anyone's interested. It's 25 minutes long. Just a nice little well-shot set. I'm pretty sure the crowd was all sitting down though, so. I don't know how excited you can get for that for TED Talk. I don't know what they're expecting, but there you go. Yeah. What do you think of all-seater crowds, by the way? Pretty lame, or
I mean, I'm getting old, man. So I've come to appreciate it. I mean, I never wanted to get that way, but it just sort of happened where we just had seats to a show one time, and I was just sitting there really, really stoned, and I realized, hey, this is actually pretty nice. I can still have a decent view of the show. And it was in a theater, so it's not a huge arena, so I wasn't even that far away from the stage. And it was just nice being able to chill out, melt into the chair while I think it was the Flaming Lips, just watching the Flaming Lips play their crazy stuff.
Yeah, you mentioned them last time as well, actually. I remember now. You're right, Zach isn't there. God damn. Okay. That's really throwing me off, but yeah, no, I don't know with the seating. I've seen a few. I remember seeing a band called, this is a bit of an outside one, called Empire of the Sun, and they did something for in a hall basically, and it was them at the front being all crazy and autistic as they are, but everyone sat down, and you're well, how? I don't know. I'd feel
and that dynamic is weird. I do agree with that. When I was sitting at the Flaming Lips, there was a pit. There were people down in front, standing up, and so that energy was still there. I just didn't have to necessarily be a part of it. No. I was able to, ride my own wave while everything else was going on. And we saw Tame Impala at Wells Fargo Center last March, and we had seats right behind the soundboard for that, and that was awesome. Although I do think, the entire crowd ended up standing up, actually. So despite having the seats, we were standing. But then, we saw the Smashing Pumpkins at an arena in October, and we had seats, and that was awesome, being able to just see an amazing band like the Pumpkins shred while I'm just, again, really stoned, sitting in a chair, having my mind blown.
Yeah, I need to get to some more shows. This is just making me envious, but they'll come. I've got a few comedy gigs booked in for the next year, but nothing like this. So I'll have to keep looking. Hopefully a couple of tours happen. Otherwise, I might just be.
It's still early.
It is still early.
There's
yeah,
plenty of time.
We're recording this January, so it's 2 weeks into the new year. I'll plenty more opportunities. So yeah, definitely. But yeah, overall, TED Talk. Just thought I'd bring that to everyone's attention. Again, another smaller segment, not too much, but something that might be a little bit larger, Josh, is the very recently released VHS tapes. the Red Rocks show
Yeah.
2021.
Shout out to Chris, Endless Throwaway account. Thank you very much for all the work you've been putting in. I envy you. I hope to
Absolutely.
have your skill, your patience, and just the equipment you use. I'd love to have my hands on that as well.
Yeah, Chris is just, he's awesome. He set up the AMA as well. He's just there in the community. Yeah, the Red Rocks show, the VHS, the tapes, essentially, yeah. So, have you had a chance to sit down and watch one of these or listen to them?
Yeah, I did. I watched it probably the day that person on Reddit had posted it, and then I've got it coming. I've ordered it. I just haven't gotten it yet.
As well. Nice. I have heard it. I don't know if I'll be doing the legal way of purchasing it. I'll be honest.
Well, I don't think you
FBI
can.
don't come
It
after
was a limited thing. I think Chris only released like 15 or 20 of them.
Okay. Yeah, but I listened to it. It's about an hour and 47 minutes long, estimated. I don't know what I thought. Yeah.
So I think it was. I thought it was like an hour and 41, and then that's not all performance. There's like a little bit in there as well. You have to cut off. So I think the overall. So I guess the video is an hour and 47 minutes long, but like I said, there's like a little bit of filler at the beginning.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half set with an encore, essentially. That's basically what it is, with some filler in between there. But yeah, what are your overall thoughts on it? Any initial thoughts? I should say, not overall thoughts.
I mean, I had seen them, a couple days. I think like 2 days after they played this Red Rock show. Yeah, okay. So it's more or less what I saw in Harrisburg. Excuse me. And I've got I filmed that whole show, so I've got that on my YouTube page.
Is it Josh A?
No, it's just Josh K.
Josh
Not
K,
very original.
Sorry, that's someone else.
It's a stupid name. I think it has something to do with when Google bought YouTube and then they forced Google Plus, isn't it what it used to be on everyone?
Google Plus. Yeah, that was.
And I just didn't feel like coming up with a username at the time, so they were like, "You can use Josh K," and I was like, "Okay, sure, whatever, YouTube."
I've had this name for about 5 years or something. I've had some stupid online persona names before. Like, this is the only even legible one. The other ones are just dumb. So yeah, no, I get you. But the Red Rocks show. Talk about that one. I've also seen it, as I mentioned. Yeah. Apart from it being similar to the show, obviously you're along the same tour. What do you think? Think it was good performance?
Yeah, I mean, I've yet to see a bootleg of any PTM show that isn't a good performance. And I think, what was cool about this Red Rock show, obviously, is they have the backing musicians.
Yes.
Which when I saw them with Alt J in April of 2022, they also had backing musicians, and it's really cool getting to see them with the additional musicians. It's they don't sound bare bones when you see them live. They sound amazing, but then having the additions on there is just not even the cherry on top. It's better than that. The backup vocalists on songs like Senseless were just amazing, because John's voice in that song is already incredible, but then just having the chorus of beautiful voices backing him is just a whole other experience.
Definitely. And yeah, my sort of initial takeaway was, it was good to have would you call it an orchestra? It was a smaller. Would you call it a full orchestra? I don't know what it is exactly, but the full.
I don't know what would make something a full on orchestra. So I can't really comment on that, but more or less.
Yeah, it had that effect. It had that sort of intensity, and it just felt very.
I kind of think the violin is weird, though. It adds a weird sound to it.
Maybe they needed to get something in there that had that level, something that the violin provides, and they thought, well, let's go for it. We've got a kick-ass violin player. Just go for it.
It's just they're like I said. When it's just them without backing musicians, they already sound incredible.
Yes.
And to me, it's the violin is almost kind of getting in the way when I just want to hear them like shredding on guitars. It's
Definitely.
like if I want to go see a violin, maybe I'll go check out like Yo-Yo Ma if that's what he does or something like that.
I remember going to see Jungle about a year and a half ago, and on one of the songs, I think it's Bonny Hill, one of the lead singers starts playing the flute towards the end, and the crowd is just like,
Oh, that's cool.
flute solo, they go mad, like when you hear a flute,
Yeah.
like you don't. But it was pretty
Oh,
good, to be fair.
Nick Albrook from Pond did that when I saw them in 2018,
Yes,
and
he does play
that
the flute, yes, as well.
that is like cool and just funny, when they randomly bust it out and do it, but then having like a kind of, I don't know if describing it as twangy is necessarily right, but just that sound of the violin throughout the whole show over the guitars and everything else just kind of gets like, all right, cool, like, but I just want to hear these dudes like shred on guitar.
Yeah, we appreciate the violin, but another thing I wanted to bring up as well, a fair bit of covering. A fair bit of covers. No, I understand they do a fair few covers, but it's quite a lot.
So they did. People complained about it, so it seemed like for their shows, definitely after the Alt J tour, it seemed like their shows from like May or June on, they definitely cut back on the covers because again, in the Reddit and I think the Discord, there was some people who were just like, I'm paying to see Portugal the Man, not Portugal the Man just covering like all these other bands.
Nirvana
Whereas,
and like,
yeah, but I mean, I love seeing a band do a good cover, and the way Portugal the Man does it is just really cool. The way they'll kind of add it on as like an outro to a song or sort of a bridge between two songs. I've always loved it, and whether they do a ton of covers or not, they're amazing either way. But I personally would never complain about the covers. I've always thought it was awesome. Like I've seen them do Hey Jude, at the end of Sleep Forever,
which
as well as
it works. Yeah, it works. Sleep Forever has a couple of different endings as well, like the Smile ending, and then
exactly. I was gonna say, and
Plastic Soldiers. Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure John he does the chorus once. I don't know if that counts as a cover, but of Live and Let Die during the whole Sleep Forever, Hey Jude thing.
That's all
where he's like,
they can only do one line.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know they've done Helter Skelter and She's So Heavy by the Beatles, Cowboys from Hell, and
In Bloom by Nirvana.
Great Southern Trend. Oh, I was going to say Great Southern Trendkill. Those are two Pantera songs they've covered. South of Heaven by Slayer, For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica.
Their intro, by the way, which they pretty much play every one of the in the last, what would you say, like 5 years?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if on their most recent shows, if that is how they were opening. I think they changed it up again because I think people were complaining especially about that. I think they'd been opening with For Whom the Bell Tolls since at least 2017 or maybe 2018.
Definitely 2018, and but yeah, maybe even 2017.
I think people...
It sets the tone, though, doesn't it? And then Hey Jude.
Oh, for sure.
Good stuff. I don't know. Maybe just one at the end, one at the beginning, one in the middle would be good. But again, maybe I just have to disagree a little bit and say maybe it's time to release the album, get some new things on the tour, and you don't have to cover so much. I hate to be,
And
I don't know.
Yeah, and I do wonder if that was just part of it after a while. Like when I saw them in 2021, amazing set, one of my favorites they've ever done. But
Absolutely.
they covered they opened with that For Whom the Bell Tolls, South of Heaven, Cowboys from Hell, like metal medley is what I call it. And then like they played two of their own songs. Then they did part of In Bloom, and then they did Got It All, and then they covered God Gave Rock and Roll to You. And they also covered Moon Age Daydream by David Bowie in that show. They had the little bit of the Black Sabbath song in there. What else was there? Because I know that wasn't all of it. They did another Brick in the Wall with Purple, Yellow, Red, and Blue.
Yeah.
And during Atomic Man, they have the part where they do that Rolling Stone song. What was that song called? I can never remember. Gimme Shelter, right?
Yeah, that's it. War Children. It's just a shot away.
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah, yeah.
That works though. Maybe because their stuff originally up to Evil Friends Woodstock maybe doesn't link as well doesn't cross from song to song. So if you go from one thing, it is like a hard stop and a hard start. There isn't as much like fading across, I've noticed.
For as long as I've been seeing them, which my first show was 2011, they've always had that very fluid from one song into the next thing, and that was part of what blew me away the first time I saw them. Was I was just like, I didn't realize this is what a band could sound like live.
Yeah.
You know, I always just pictured it being, they played a song and stop, and played a song and stop, and maybe say a few things, whereas they just started, and then it was just a roller coaster ride for the next hour and 45 minutes.
Okay, that's fair to have a bit of pushback. I will say for the album versions, it is very much a hard stop and start. There isn't as much, not to call it a concept, but maybe next album is a concept album. I don't know. Hopefully.
I pulled up a set list from December of 2022, and on it, I am seeing not that many covers, so it looks like they did Atomic Man with Gimme Shelter, and then they did the All Your Light Jam, but they've changed it up, it looks like, since the last time I saw them do it, where the only cover they added to it was just I Want You, She's So Heavy. Other than that, it looks like they played All Your Light, and then jammed on The Sun, The Home, and yeah, that's it. It looks like they might not have even done that Kilo cover of, Ghostface.
We'll see. I mean, it's a new year, so maybe they've got some new covers they want to do. Maybe they want to trim it back. You never know. I mean, if stuff works for them and they're having fun. I mean, they always say you get a more custom, a more of a real experience going to the live show than just listening at home, with headphones on or whatever. And they always do try and make more of an effort to make it a show. So credit to them, to be fair, for doing it. And if they have to do the covers to link stuff up and jam stuff in together and, set the tone, by all means, go for it, But as long as they don't start overweighing the original stuff, then it'll become... I don't think it ever will, but...
Yeah, yikes, this is kind of an aged like milk scenario, though. It looks like at Riot Fest in September of 2022, with Live in the Moment, it says on Setlist FM, Live in the Moment with Black Skinhead by Kanye West intro. And it's yikes. Everything that he's gone through, I don't know if I'd want to be repping anything with Kanye's name attached to it.
Yeah, he is divisive, I'll say that. Not exactly what he's trying to accomplish at the moment, Kanye. The moment. Especially, I can't believe... we're not going to go down the rabbit hole, but... Yeah, he's just... he is one crazy fella. Crazy fucking fella. I'll tell you that.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been a massive fan on him, so I'm I'm fine to just, ignore him. Let him do his own thing. I appreciate
I was never a huge...
like him. Sorry?
Oh, what were you saying?
I appreciate that he's, massively popular, or has, a massive following, and he wants to be the president one day, and he wants to do this and that, and but as not a massive fan, I can just, okay, I'll put you in this corner. I don't need to, don't need to hear from you, sort of thing. You do your thing. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, never a big fan, but I always just respected because other people who I was fans of were like, yo, this guy's great. And it's okay, well, I can acknowledge that then. He's apparently very talented, just not my cup of tea. But now, with all this insane, awful stuff that he's done, and now it's I'm not even going to waste time trying to give him credit as an artist, because it's just not worth it.
That brings us to our last topic. We couldn't finish up with the PTM questions. Josh, you've done this before. Do you remember what one I gave you?
Oh man, what song? It was something. I almost want to say it was something off of Waiter. It might have been Chicago or something like that. It was How the
Leopard Got Its Spots.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So we've got another one. You've got yes or no questions. We'll limit it to 10.
10, right?
Difficult.
I was just saying it's 10, right? I've got 10 questions?
Yeah, the last one has to be a guess.
Okay, so 9 questions and a guess.
Essentially, yeah. You've got the entire catalogue to choose from. You can start when you're ready.
Alright, first question, always going to be, is it before or after they signed to Atlantic?
That's not a yes or no question.
Oh, crap. Did we not? I feel like that was a question I asked last time. Okay, had they signed to Atlantic on this album?
Yes.
Well, that narrows it down quite a lot.
That does.
Okay.
But to how many?
Did John design the album cover of this album?
That narrows it down from 2 to 3, doesn't it? Yep. Yes. Yes, he did.
Okay.
Or does it?
I think it does, because I guess more or less, I was more or less meaning, like, did he illustrate it? And
Okay.
I think the answer you gave is correct.
Yeah.
So is it off of Evil Friends?
No.
Okay. So then, is the title of the song have, like, part in parentheses?
No. Don't think so. I'll double check for reassurances, but I'm almost 100% sure it doesn't. Yeah. That was your fourth one, by the way. It's your fourth question. So
Okay.
You're looking good at the moment.
Was this song... Excuse me.
I can confirm it's no.
Does this song have 2 words in it?
Yes.
Oh, man. That was 5, right?
Yep. You pretty much got this if you can remember it.
Oh, God. Does the name of the song have a nationality in it?
No.
So I'm gonna guess, is the song Sleep Forever?
The song to end all great concerts by them, or live shows, is the one that ends this episode as well. Yes, it is Sleep Forever, from In the Mountain, the Cloud. Nice work.
Nice.
Nice work. I was going to be
and I agree.
Pick something like a single that from like something they'd done just after Woodstock, just to throw you off, but I thought, nah, not yet.
I think that would have definitely thrown me for a loop.
That would have thrown you, because it's not In the Mountain.
I was like, who's gonna stop me? I forgot about that song.
Yeah. It could have been. It could have been.
That would have been dirty. That would have been real dirty.
It would have been dirty, but I'm not that mean. I'm not going to be that mean to you. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the episode, Josh. I just want to say thank you for coming on. Thank you for talking to us. It's been quite a long one, this one. I'm going to do some editing, but I mean, at the moment, we're looking almost 2.5 hours for this one. So if you've made it this far through, which I don't think anyone would have, but fair play to them. It's been a long
will,
listen.
and I'm gonna love it.
You're gonna listen back. Lovely. Thank you. But
and I'm just gonna be like, wow, they both sound like such idiots. How is this their tier list?
Yeah.
These guys don't know anything about PTM. Woodstock should be the magnum opus. Are you kidding me?
Made them what they are.
Yeah.
No, I see their point, but sorry. No, yeah, it's been good to get you on. Good to talk again. Yeah, hopefully I'll do more episodes in the year. I'm not exactly sure what the plan is, but hopefully, depending on the next guest I can get on, we can kind of go from there, and yeah, hopefully big things. But yeah,
Yeah.
Have you got any final thoughts, Josh?
It's just always fun. I'm glad you had me back on. Always willing to do the show. Like I said, sorry it was so long. I can just talk all day about Portugal the Man. I've spent quite a lot of time doing nothing but getting stoned and listening to their music and watching their concerts. So I've got a lot of things to say about PTM.
You're a better fan than I am. Well,
no, I mean, we're all the same. We just, celebrate it in different ways.
Yeah. Again, looking forward to the new stuff. Really, at this point, that's where I'm at. But
yeah, I want Chris Black to change my life.
I want him to change my life as well. Chris.
Yeah, that should even be like a campaign they do. I think that'd be kind of like a fun try to do a viral thing. Just random little videos of people like, I want Chris Black to change my life, or like even people being like, Chris Black changed my life, like they're about to do like testimonies, like those old.
They've already got the shirts.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They could do it. But anyway.
Yeah, people will be like, "Who's Chris Black?" And then they'll find the album.
They'll search him. They'll look him up. And be like, okay. Oh, seems like a great guy. honestly. Yeah, so once again, thank you, Josh, and if you've made it this far, thank you very much for listening. Yeah, hopefully more news in 2023 to cover. I'll try to do my best to keep in touch, again, in the Discord, in the Reddit, just another part of the pie, of that community that I'm just trying to lift up a little bit for the people that like to listen and, shout at the computer when they're listening to the tier list maker. But anyway, yeah. Again, Josh, thank you for coming on, and thank you for listening, guys. Have a good one. Take care. Goodbye.